Welcome to our very first 4K driving tour of Washington, D.C., the nation's capital, a city where history, culture, and politics meet. In this series, we'll explore the most iconic streets and landmarks of Washington, capturing the city's energy in stunning detail. Today's route takes us past monuments, memorials, and world-famous institutions, all from the driver's seat. Our journey begins at Arlington Cemetery, the resting place of America's heroes. From there, we'll cross the Arlington Memorial Bridge, entering the heart of the Capitol with the Lincoln Memorial in sight. We'll drive along Constitution Avenue and turn onto 17th Street, where the World War II Memorial greets us at the edge of the National Mall. Next, we follow Independence Avenue, circling the Tidal Basin with views of the Washington Monument standing tall above the skyline. Passing the historic Sidney R. Yates Federal Building and the Department of Agriculture, we turn onto 12th Street with the National Museum of Asian Art just ahead. Our route continues past Madison Drive and onto Constitution Avenue again, where the Natural History Museum comes into view. Then we'll head north on 10th Street, passing Metro Center and CityCenterDC before swinging onto East Street, right by the historic Willard Hotel and President's Park. Turning onto Pennsylvania Avenue, we'll roll past Pershing Park, the White House Visitor Center, the John Wilson Building, and the Grand Waldorf Astoria. The avenue guides us straight toward the United States Capitol, one of the most recognized symbols of democracy. Finally, we veer onto Constitution Avenue and Louisiana Avenue, arriving at Union Station, a true gateway to Washington, D.C., and the perfect place to end our drive. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this scenic ride through Washington, D.C. in stunning 4K. Let's begin our journey. As we begin our journey, we start near Arlington National Cemetery, a place of deep honor and remembrance. This is the final resting place for over 400,000 service members, veterans, and their families, stretching back to the Civil War. Row upon row of white headstones quietly tell the story of sacrifice and service to the nation. Not far from here stands the United States Navy Seabee Memorial. It honors the Navy's construction battalions, the Seabees, who have built bases, airstrips, and infrastructure around the world, often under combat conditions. Their motto says it all: we build, we fight. Together, the cemetery and the Seabee Memorial remind us that Washington is more than monuments. It's a living tribute to those who shaped and defended the country. From here, our path leads us toward the Arlington Memorial Bridge, a grand gateway connecting Arlington Cemetery to the heart of Washington, D.C., opened in 1932. The bridge was designed as a symbolic link between the North and South after the Civil War, uniting the nation's past with its capital city. Crossing its span, we're treated to sweeping views of the Potomac River. The Potomac isn't just a natural boundary. It's been called the nation's river, flowing through history from George Washington's Mount Vernon estate to the very steps of the Capitol. On one side, you'll glimpse Arlington's rolling hills and memorials. On the other, the monumental core of Washington rises ahead, with the Lincoln Memorial standing tall at the far end of the bridge. This crossing beautifully frames the transition from a place of solemn remembrance into the civic heart of the nation. As we reach the far side of the Arlington Memorial Bridge, the Lincoln Memorial comes into view, one of the most visited and revered landmarks in the United States. Dedicated in 1922, this grand temple honors President Abraham Lincoln, whose leadership preserved the Union during the Civil War. Inside, a larger-than-life statue of Lincoln sits in quiet reflection, while his immortal words, the Gettysburg Address and Second Inaugural Address, are carved into the walls. From here, our drive turns onto Constitution Avenue, one of Washington's most historic streets. Stretching along the north side of the National Mall, Constitution Avenue is lined with government buildings, museums, and monuments. Every spring, this avenue bursts into color during the Cherry Blossom Festival, as thousands of visitors gather to celebrate the beauty of the season against the backdrop of Washington's landmarks. This part of our route connects the story of Lincoln's legacy with the living history of the Capitol as we continue toward the World War II Memorial and beyond. Just ahead, we arrive at the World War II Memorial, a sweeping plaza that honors the more than 16 million Americans who served in the armed forces during World War II. Opened in 2004, its grand arches represent the Atlantic and Pacific theaters, while 56 granite pillars symbolize the unity of the states and territories. At its center, fountains sparkle, making this memorial a place of both reflection and quiet beauty. From here, our drive continues onto Independence Avenue, one of the city's most scenic routes. To our left lies the Tidal Basin, famous each spring for its delicate cherry blossoms, a gift from Japan that has become one of Washington's most beloved traditions. Towering above it all is the Washington Monument, the tallest stone structure in the world. Rising over 555 feet, this obelisk honors the first president of the United States, George Washington, and has stood as a symbol of the nation's ideals since its completion in 1884. The monument's reflection in the nearby water makes this stretch of the journey especially memorable. As we move further along Independence Avenue, we pass the Sidney R. Yates Federal Building. Built in 1880 in the Romanesque Revival style, this historic red brick structure once served as the Bureau of Engraving and Printing. Today, it houses offices for the U.S. Forest Service, a reminder of the building's long legacy of public service. Next, we come alongside the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Established in 1862 by President Abraham Lincoln, the department plays a vital role in supporting America's farmers, ranchers, and food supply. Its Washington headquarters stretches across multiple city blocks, showing the importance of agriculture in the nation's history and daily life. Turning left onto 12th Street Southwest, the scene begins to shift. On our right, we approach the National Museum of Asian Art, part of the Smithsonian Institution. Home to one of the most comprehensive collections of Asian art in the world, the museum bridges cultures through paintings, sculptures, and artifacts spanning thousands of years. It's a quieter gem among Washington's many museums, inviting visitors to reflect on art and history from across the globe. Continuing our journey, we pass Madison Drive, which runs parallel to the National Mall and is lined with some of the Smithsonian's most beloved museums. Turning back onto Constitution Avenue, we soon see one of the crown jewels of the Smithsonian Institution, the National Museum of Natural History. This museum, easily recognized by its grand dome, opened in 1910 and welcomes millions of visitors each year. Inside, it houses over 145 million specimens from dinosaur fossils to dazzling gems like the famous Hope Diamond. For generations, it has been a place where science, nature, and wonder meet. From here, we head north on 10th Street Northwest, leaving the mall behind and entering a bustling commercial district. This route takes us past Metro Center, one of Washington's busiest transit hubs, and into the sleek, modern heart of CityCenterDC. Glass towers, luxury shops, and restaurants mark this vibrant downtown neighborhood, showcasing a very different side of the city, one that blends contemporary urban life with the historic avenues we've just explored. onto East Street NW. We approach one of Washington's most storied landmarks, the Willard Hotel. Known as the residence of presidents, the Willard has hosted nearly every U.S. president since the 1850s. It's also where Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. finalized his legendary "I Have a Dream" speech in 1963. The hotel's elegant facade carries more than a century of history, politics, and diplomacy. Just beyond lies President's Park, a green expanse that surrounds the White House. From this vantage point, we can sense the closeness of the nation's executive mansion, even if it remains hidden just beyond the trees. Our route then continues onto Pennsylvania Avenue, often called America's Main Street. The first stop along this famous stretch is Pershing Park, a quiet memorial honoring General John J. Pershing and the American Expeditionary Forces of World War I. A little further along, we pass the White House Visitor Center, where travelers from around the world begin their journey to learn about the history of the presidency and the home of America's leaders. As we move deeper into downtown, the city's civic and cultural landmarks line the avenue. We pass the John Wilson Building, the headquarters of the D.C. government, before reaching the majestic Waldorf Astoria, Washington, D.C. Housed in the beautifully restored Old Post Office Pavilion, this building is a striking example of Romanesque Revival architecture, standing tall as both a luxury hotel and a piece of preserved history. Continuing along Pennsylvania Avenue, the city opens up toward one of its most iconic views, the United States Capitol. Rising at the east end of the National Mall, the Capitol has stood since 1800 as the meeting place of Congress, the legislative heart of the nation. Its grand dome, completed during the Civil War, is a powerful symbol of democracy, visible from nearly every corner of the city. From here, our route takes a gentle curve onto Constitution Avenue, skirting the edge of the Capitol grounds, before merging left onto Louisiana Avenue. This transition leads us toward one of Washington's busiest landmarks, Union Station. Here, at Union Station, our journey comes to a close. Thank you for joining us on this 4K driving tour through the heart of Washington, D.C. From the solemn grounds of Arlington Cemetery, across the Potomac River, and through streets lined with some of the nation's most iconic monuments, museums, and landmarks, we've experienced the city's history and beauty from a new perspective. This is just the beginning of our Washington driving series, and we'll continue to explore more neighborhoods, avenues, and hidden gems in future videos. If you enjoyed this ride, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more 4K city drives from Washington and beyond. Until next time, thanks for watching, and see you on the next journey.